Hi FlashTube, it's Diane. Today is May 22nd, 2023. I know it's been a while, but life, life happens. So I have a little bit of everything, I think. I just came back from the Stitching in the Wild retreat that was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I had never been to Florida before, so it was different. It reminded me a lot of San Diego with the palm trees and very flat and all and everything. I grew up in the Black Hills, so very different frame of reference. But it was a great retreat. We had a lot of fun, met a lot of wonderful people, many of which I had just met via Zoom or through other social media. So it's really nice to meet people, in real life. So it was really nice. My husband went with me. So I was kidding him that he was my grub hub because I stay in the hotel most of the time stitching, chatting. Because who goes to a retreat to actually stitch? I did get some stitching done though, and I will show it. I hope I have it in here. But yeah, it was so much fun. And we flew back yesterday. Cons of the trip. Miami Airport. And I fly out of MSP, so I'm used to a big airport, but that's not the part. It just, no. Not a good experience. Yeah, it was very interesting for a variety of reasons. But the flight, we had some turbulence, but it wasn't horrible. It was about a 3-hour, 40 minutes, 3.5 to 3-hour, 40 minutes flight. So it wasn't too bad in that regard. Although those airplane seats are never comfortable. I don't care what plane you're on. But we were there in Fort Lauderdale for just a couple of hours, and well, not even a couple of hours. And so a car accident happened right in front of us. So Florida drivers are, I live in the Twin Cities, well, just outside the Twin Cities. I thought they were nuts. And then I went to Texas. They're on a different level. Florida is way up here, driving wise. Yeah, nuts. Seriously, people, speed is not your friend driving. I don't care what the weather is. Speed, slow the heck down. You leave 10 minutes earlier, you are worth the time. But anyway, it was interesting. And my husband, he took some walks and he heard some scurrying. Well, up here in our area, that's squirrels, because we have squirrels galore. They have Florida squirrels, aka iguanas. So yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting. But it was a good trip. The hotel was very clean, very nice staff. Although our shower, because of its design, it kept leaking. When we took a shower, we couldn't figure out why. It was weird. But we were aware of it and watched it, and no issues. We ate at a restaurant the last night called the Lucky Cat. That was really good. Asian-inspired food. Very good. Very, very good. Great customer service. Highly recommend. And a smoothie place that was near the hotel. Tropical smoothies. We went there one morning. Very good. A big smoothie. And it took me a while to get through it. I don't drink coffee, so that I don't know about the coffee places. Can't tell you that. But oh, I forgot one thing. So hold just a second, please. And so my husband, he usually went and got our food and brought it back to the hotel. So I called him my grub hub because he brought me my grub. But yeah, at the airport, I looked at a couple places. And I get keychains when I travel. That's my souvenir of choice. because I make them scissor fobs. Do I have one handy? Yeah, this one. I think this was from CVG Airport in Kentucky. I just make them scissor fobs. It makes it easy to find your scissors. So I got one in Florida. So it says Florida, USA, and then I like it when it has something spin like that. For example, this one has a Lincoln penny in it. So yeah, so I got my keychain. Set that there. Where do I start? Well, let's start about the elephant in the room, shall we? I have been working on this quilt for over a year. It's called Fair Isle by Studio180design.net. It's not plural, it's just design.net. It's called Fair Isle, ISLE. And these fabrics are all batiks, and they were designed by Deb Tucker, or she collaborated with the fabric company. I don't know if the fabrics are available anymore. The pattern is available. So I've been working on it where you do this section like right here. This section was 1 month, and then 1 month you put this band together, and then this band and this band and that band, and then you put them all together. And I had shown you guys, so think of 9 blocks. I'd shown you this one, the center block, and the side blocks, which this one, it's block 2, you turn it as block 4, you turn it as block 6, you turn it as block 8. And I had a center section, so I had to work on the corners. And so these are the corners. So this is month 9, and this is month 11, because you made units and then several months later you might put the units together. And so I had it all together, and there's 3 borders. I have 2 of them on. And the final border is a deep, deep green, which I don't think, well, it could be this one, but I don't think so. I don't think it's used anywhere else in the quilt except for that 3rd border and the binding. So this will be roughly 104 by 104 when it's finished. And it's for my bed. I'm going to move you just a wee bit so you can see more of the pattern on the quilt. There we go. So yeah, it's almost complete. So there's the center of the quilt right there. If you've never done a Studio 180 design quilt pattern or anything along that line, their directions are very thorough. The illustrations are very, very well done. So I would highly recommend their patterns. Excuse me. But I have to put that last border on, and then I am not quilting this on my home machine. I just have literally a little home machine. So I will quilt with my credit card and get this on my bed by the fall. I had hoped to have it done, but sometimes you're just not in the mood to sew, and it's not conducive to sew. But then this will be done. Another thing that might have delayed this a little bit is I did some project bags. Where did I put my stack of project bags? Right here. Okay. I did the pineapple, petite pineapples. And I did one with where this fabric was orange, and I gave it to the person that drew my small at the retreat, and I'll show you a picture in a moment of her. I did this one. There's a little bit of sparkle on there. I can't remember what the lining is on this one. Oh, it's just a black and white flower. And this one, the batik pumpkins. And the batik pumpkins with the different fabric up here. And I already showed this one. But a beach theme one. showed that one. And this one that's Christmassy, but not the traditional colors. What am I using that instead of this? Oh, I used the black and white flowers. Excuse me. I think that's all the new ones. So I did those. And so, you know, I only have one set of hands. But at the retreat again, I did a small, smalls exchange. So I participated in that. And this is Diane. Hold on, let me turn my brightness down. So it doesn't glare as much. There we go. Her name is Diane. She lives in Florida. And we had a nice time chatting. And I do have a picture of my small, I believe. Or did I discard it? She's holding my small, but I had a closer picture. What I stitched and used as my small was by Scattered Seeds, excuse me, called Gathering Together. And it's in here, there it is. Come on. It is this pattern here. Now the original pattern has the flowers be kind of a gray blue, but I wanted them red, so I changed it from DMC, whatever it's called for, to, which I think is 414. I changed it to DMC 221. It's all stitched in DMC on 40 count platinum. And since I had the experience of going to StitchCon, and I had stuffed my small for StitchCon, I brought two different smalls for two different reasons, but I had stuffed one of them with walnut shells and it was in my carry-on. Apparently the TSA doesn't like an object about this big that's stuffed with walnut shells because their scanners can't look through it. I thought, they're like, no, you don't have to take your shoes off. No, you don't have to go through that scanner. You need to go over this way. And I thought, good, I don't have to take my shoes off. You know, grab my bag and I can go. Until the guy holds up my bag and go, whose bag is this? That's why all these people are delayed, because they were trying to figure out what was in my bag. Stuffed with walnut shells. But I used wool roving to stuff my small instead. This is the wool roving that Kathy Haberman likes to use from Hands On Design. If I remember correctly, because I took a class with her, there's some wool that she is sensitive to, but this one she's not. So I just got that from Stitchville. But Diane really liked that, and her sister was sitting with her, and the two of them, Julie, I can't remember if it's Julie or Julia, and Diane. Or is it Cindy? I'm getting names all mixed up in my head. I think it was Julie. They were stitching on the same Scarlet House sampler. So sisters stitching the same sampler, same fabric, same fibers. It was really cool. And then they had brought on the brag table, they had brought a sampler that in memoriam of their mom, and they had each stitched something, some part of that sampler. So here is the brag table, and I'm sorry, it's glaring. I'm trying to turn the thing down. Go down a little more. The brightness. There we go. Now that is not my Raven Queen. That was stitched by another stitcher. These were stitched by a new friend that I had met only through Zoom, and she's from the Netherlands, and she was able to come. And then these were also on the brag table. And the brag table. And this is the sampler here that Diane and Julie had stitched for their I hope I'm saying the right name. I know it's Diane. They had stitched in memoriam of their mom. They changed some things and they added purple because that was their mom's favorite color. Yeah, each of them changed one element to add for their mom. And this is one of the Autumn Lane samplers, or Autumn Lane Designs, Queen of Dark Queen. And then you have Day Nymph and Mother Moon. And some others, including Lila Studios Halloween Quaker. I did that one. Did I do that one? Let me show you. This is Rosewood Manor. I want to say called Tapestry. And these 5 I brought. So I brought Persephone, Palawan Peacock Pheasant, Zelda, Liberty Games, and a piece I'm going to show that I finished this month. So it was a lot of fun. And the small that I received from a lovely lady named Rose was this. It is a thread bed, the place you can park your needle. And she included a little scissor. This was done by another person at the retreat, but I just clipped it there. And she included a package of Bowen needles, which I love Bowen needles, size 26. And then this has the little zip package, but also there's another little pocket in here with other goodies. And so she is a floss tuber. Rose is a floss tuber, and her floss tube is 3 sisters, 3 stitchers. So you can go check her out on her. She says she makes these for many of her projects, but it's very well made. So, and it snaps, so you can use it as a thread bed. So that was the small that I received. There we go. And there's other goodies in there, but I will show some other goodies as we go. A goodie that I received from my husband for Mother's Day, which was the weekend before, was a Daylight Halo Go from Amazon. Very handy light because it folds completely flat. I do need to get the hard case, but I brought that, and that was very handy because it's rechargeable. And I need that. So I brought this piece, and I forgot to grab a board. I knew I was forgetting something. So I don't have a board to show, but it's my finish. I showed I had started this in my last video. It is Spring Quaker, Lila Studios. Which I put the pattern somewhere. Spring Quaker, Lila Studios. Do be aware, if you want to stitch this pattern, that for whatever reason, before she was able to do the first printing of this, her design software decided to drop one symbol and one color. And it's on page 4 and page 9. And it's the orange flower and the carrot in the body of the butterfly. So just check if your pattern has that. If it doesn't, go to her blog, or her website blog, and she has it so you can download page 4, and you can download those sections. Those are the only 2 pages where that particular color is used, but you can download those sections and just, I wrote it in my pattern, make that correction for yourself. Now I used 40 count Antique Country Mocha. I used the DMC alternatives. When I was kitting that up, I didn't have the overdyes, or I didn't have all the overdyes. But I pulled the DMC colors, and I really liked the colors, and I'm so glad I did. I'm using 1 strand over 2 threads, and it is a finish. Those colors are just gorgeous. So you see up here this flower with the pinkish orange color, which I think is DMC 372. For some reason, her computer decided to drop that symbol. And then over here, the bunny with the carrot and the butterfly body. So if you're going to stitch this, just check your pattern to see if that was dropped or not. If it was, you can go to her website and download those parts of the chart. I know she was correcting it for future printing, so if you have a later printing that has it, then the correction's been made. But I was stitching on it and I just got in a groove and I kept with it. And since this winter never seemed to want to leave, no matter how long the winter, spring is sure to follow. And I actually ran out of the black when it said FOLLO. And then we got another snowstorm, and I thought, really? Because April 1st, April Fool's Day, we had a nasty snowstorm. Very, very heavy snow. And then the following week, we had 80 degrees. Or was it the week before? No, it was that week. We had 80 degrees. A lot of the snow melted. And we got another snowstorm, and then it was cold, and it was rainy, and it finally, spring into summer, we're getting into summer pretty quickly, is here. Today is just gorgeous. I have the windows open upstairs, and it's around 75, but it's early enough that the bugs are not out. So it's like, yeah, we're outside. We're getting the air in the house out. So that is my finish that I have for this month. And I use the DMC alternatives. And now I've given myself permission to purchase the summer Quaker, which I haven't done yet. Yeah, I have my hair cut. I don't know why they can't get rid of this little wing. Oh well. It's a little shorter, but it's going into summer, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay if it's a little shorter. It'll grow. But what did I stitch beyond that? And one of the things I was working on was the Fragments in Time by Summer House Stitch Works. I am still working on the 2022s. I have one set complete, and so here's my complete set, all 8. And so now I'm trying to get another set. These are going to be Christmas ornaments that I'll give my children. So here's number 1. I think I showed that last time. And here's the second one I'm redoing. So I did stitch on this one. I finished the border. I had a chunk of it started, but I finished the border and I started on the birds. And then under this bird is a leaf, because I just wanted to finish that color off. This is 40 count Woodland brown, or Woodland, or Woodland, excuse me, brown. And I'm using the called for colors. But on the plain, I did for 2023 Fragments in Time. I have the first 2. The second 2 are supposed to be out soon if they're not already out. And so I just did the border. This will be number 1, and then I did the second border. The first 2 in this, for the 2023 series, have the same border. It's just the zigzag border. This was easy to do on the plain. Just, okay, 1 stitch up, 1 stitch down, 1 stitch up, 1 stitch down. And then I did a little bit on the inside, but I was getting kind of concerned that I'd have to frog the inside, so I jumped to the next border. Then I didn't have to change flosses too often. So I have those started because my goal is to have the 2023 ones done before Christmas of 2023. And then I'll make the 2022 ones for Christmas 2022, because obviously they're not done. And so I did stitch on that. And the other piece I stitched on, just a second here. Okay. I have different piles here, and I'm just trying to make sure I get everything. This one. Last time I mentioned my aunt had passed away. Thank you for the nice sentiments. She's a really beautiful lady, very beautiful spirit. And here is a picture of her. It's a very beautiful lady, inside and out. Oops, that could go there. But I had thought of doing a Glennon place. I had thought of doing, I know I said a couple different ideas. Then I thought of Jeannette Douglas's her Blooming Bouquets series, and I thought of the one with roses, which I think is number 4. And I went to Stitchville and I looked at them, and I chose this one. This is Blooming Bouquets number 2. I love the blue flowers. There's also one that's poinsettias, and she was born in December. I thought that would be nice, but this one spoke to me. So I did purchase the silks, or the accessory pack with all the silks, because there are 12 different silks in this, and I might have had one, but I doubt it. But in the accessory pack, which is, yes, pricey, you get enough silk to do the project, but you don't have to buy a full skein. So I bought the accessory pack, and I'm stitching on it. This is 40 count Lakeside Linen Pecan Butter, 1 strand over 2 threads. And you're going to see another thing I bought at the retreat. I've been looking at Rolaframes for a while, and I think I mentioned it on a video, so I did buy one. And this is the 18-inch bars with the 12-inch sidebars, 18, 12. So far I'm really liking it. These are really light and comfortable, but I feel that the fabric is held in place, like it's not going to just totally fall apart on me. If you've tried those split rail ones, or those, you know, cheapy ones you get at Michael's or something, I never felt that my fabric was secure, my project was secure in those, but this I do, and a friend showed me how to load it up. And so this is the one I stitched on the most at the retreat, because I knew I couldn't do this one on the plane, so I thought I'll do this one. And so here is where I am at. I am going to do the border. At first I thought I would just do the center, but then these colors in the border, on the picture they don't look that great, but they are actually here, these goldish colors that are in the flowers. Trying to get it so you can see. But yeah, it's turning out just beautifully, and of course silk is just fun to work with. And these are the beautiful silk colors. They're a mixture of Gloriana, which I love Gloriana. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Glorianas, 1 needlepoint silk, 2 Belsoise, and 4 silken colors. So that's 13 different silks. But again, I bought the accessory pack, the accessory pack. And there's a color on here already that I don't have to use again in the entire project. It's this one that goes into the basket. So you get enough silk to do this. Now I'm using 1 strand, but even if I was using 2 strands on 32 count, you would have plenty of silk. And like some of the greens, you need more, so they give you more. So I think the accessory packs are worth it, in my opinion. But what I will do is there's a lot of open space. Like you have the center, and then you have this little satin stitch frame. There's enough room in here to put her initials. And I'm not sure about date. If I should put the date that she was born. I haven't made up my mind on that. I'm going to add her initials, I know for sure. But beyond that, I'm not sure how else to personalize this. But originally I thought I would just do the center, but I'm going to do the whole thing, and this piece of fabric will work great. And again, this is it's so much lighter than my Q-snap when I Frankenstein a Q-snap, meaning I take bits and parts and put it together till it's big enough for a scrolly kind of frame. And then having these silicone cable ties are just fabulous. And it fits in my Lowry. This is a grime guard I made myself. It's not the greatest, but it fits, because the one I bought from Garon a while ago, it doesn't fit on this size. So have that. And those are things I've stitched on. Except I did have a new start at the retreat. Of course, why not? So like this one, I have my keychain, my Iowa keychain. And this is something that one of the ladies handed out. The S, let's see if I hold it correctly. Nope, let me hold it this way so you can read it. The SITW Stitching in the Wild 2023. And I love it. And there's a little loop here that I could even loop this keychain. I think that would be too heavy though. But I could put a little jump ring and then put one of those little threaders or something like that. And this is a handy tool if you get a Rolaframe to tighten the wing nuts. I will be adding a lanyard to this so I can easily find it. And I wonder if I could. No, I don't think that would work. Anyway, I'm going to stick a lanyard. If that doesn't work, I'm going to glue a magnet to it. Because on the Rolaframe, he builds a magnet into it. So if I put a magnet here, then I can have the magnet there. Or I have a metal tray and I could just stick the magnet there so I don't lose this little guy. Because I know myself and I will probably misplace something or it will walk away under someone else's power. So we will go through a couple things here. 1 minute, please. Okay. This is going to be a long one. Sorry. Haul from the retreat and other places. Yeah, this is the small that I made. And the flowers, you have this bluish gray color. I switched it to 221. It's supposed to be 413, and I switched it to 221. Okay, that's not what I wanted. I wonder where that went. There was a, well, whenever I find it, I'll show it in a video. But at the Stitching in the Wild retreat, I encourage you to watch Gary and Ronnie's video, Garon Stitchery here on YouTube. I am assuming this Friday, but maybe next Friday, they will show the models because some of the, we only have the pattern, we didn't get a picture, so I'm not going to show those. But this is one by Rami's Creations, Stitching in the Wild. And one of the ladies there, she actually stitched this because she had forgotten her small at home, and she stitched this, popped it in a hoop. It was very cute, very well done. And this calls for Rami's Creations and DMC colors, but honestly you could use any colors. It's cute. And I thought, I know that this is all stitched, it's a model, it would be cute to like loop, tack an actual skein down. You might have to shorten the skein and fiddle with it a little bit, but I thought that would be cute, give it more dimension, and then maybe stick an actual needle there. And there's a scissor, maybe finding a charm or button, but you can make it your own. I do not know when these patterns would be available or how, but watch Gary's video and Ronnie's video and they'll tell you. This is also Stitching in the Wild by Fox and Rabbit. And Diane, who won my, or took my small, drew my small, she did a design for Stitching in the Wild where she took Garon's logo and she kind of modified it a little bit. Maybe they'll show that too, because I only have the pattern. I don't want to show the pattern. I don't have permission to show the pattern. Hands-on design, resting beach face. This is an exclusive. Ink Circles, Sand and Sun. This is an exclusive. My understanding is within a year or so, it would be released from Ink Circles. Keep an eye out for it. It calls for Classic Colorworks, or you can use DMC. Stitchy Prose, Autumn Puns. So, gourd vibes only, and shiitake happens. I just want to make some more fall-y kind of things, so that I picked up. And this one I've seen, I did not see it at Stitchville. They may have it, I don't know, but Jan Hicks Creates, E pluribus unum, excuse me. This does call for overdyes. I am going to pull from my own because the fabric that I want to use for this might require me to pull my own. But I just love this. And I'm thinking on my wall I have One Nation, my Marines picture, and then this would be cool up there. And they had a freebie table, and I was able to pick up these little snowmen from Homespun Collectibles. And this one, Friendship Sampler by Heartwarming Samplers. And this one by Bent Creek, or excuse me, the trilogy, which Bent Creek, Heart in Hand, and Twisted Threads are what make up the trilogy. They're not designing together anymore, to my knowledge. Easter lineup. It's really cute. So I picked those up at those last ones up at the freebie table. Actually, I'm going to stick that down. Part of the reason I want to do the video today is because I need to put stuff away. I need to put my stuff away. And then I also purchased these EdMar needles. Stitchville does not carry these, but Gary does, and he's been speaking good things about them, that they're a good quality, since the Pat Carson needles are no longer being made, to my knowledge. So I got a size 26 and a size 28. I'm going to try them and see if I like them. Again, I do like Bowen. I said Bonin before I meant Bowen. And then I got some needle minders, Garon Stitchery needle minders. Another lady passed out needle minders. Isn't that beautiful? Kind of a cloud, spacey kind of picture. Snickerdoodle Stitch. To my knowledge, she does not have a floss tube, but she does have... Oh, she does have a floss tube. Oh, I'm going to have to check her out. I didn't realize she was on YouTube. She's also on Instagram under Snickerdoodle Stitch. So definitely, if you're looking for somebody else to watch, check her out. And we all received keychain, Garon Stitchery, or excuse me, Garon toten bags. And we received a little needle minder, or needle threader. This is what, on that one, I thought I could put a jump ring and then hook this to it, because these get lost. They're very, very handy, but they do get lost really easily. So, yeah, we'll see what I do with it. Put this stuff here. And I'm going down my list here, what I have in my pile. The workers at the hotel were so nice. So nice. And received a little, looks like a matchbook, but hold your needles. Snarky cross stitch. So you can hold your needles here. And then you could write what size they are. And somebody was handing out stickers. And Diane's sister had these. This is the small that she made. She actually stitched this and then she made it into a little project bag, which was so adorable. So she had a picture taken and had it made into floss drops. Somebody else had a pin to either add decoratively to a cushion, or you could use it as a counting pin. And then somebody else had crocheted these little, it looks like a little beanie, but what it is it holds orts. Oh, I forgot to grab that. My bookshelf back here. We also received a garbage can, in green of course, Stitching in the Wild. So you could put your orts in here, and I used it a lot this last weekend. Put my orts in. And we all received a little accessory bag from Garon Toten Bags. Ronnie made these, and mine's dragonflies. Love the colors. I haven't figured out what to put in it yet, but I will find something to put into it. Here it is. And another exclusive from Stitching in the Wild. This will be released a year or so. Teresa Kogut, Sunshine and Blooms. And I bought fibers. And Stitchy Prose had made floss drops. I met her, she was there. She had made these floss drops from one of her samplers. And so I bought the thread pack because I started this one at the retreat. I did mine, or I am doing mine, I should say, on 40 count XJudesigns grandma slip. And working on that main flower in the center. I've never stitched on her fabrics before, but I really like them. They have good body. It had a little bit of an, it has just a wee bit of an odor, not overwhelming and not a bad odor. I know some people are very sensitive to that. But this piece, this fabric is big enough. If I did the math right, the piece will come down about here, and then I'll have all this that I could use for something else. Been looking at buying her fabrics for a while, but I just hadn't taken the plunge. And so that is also what I stitched at the retreat. Stephanie was there from Fabrics by Stephanie, and I picked up two of her fabrics. Oops, just dropped something. I started this one, Cassiopeia by Mirabilia, for one of my daughters, and she's my oldest whip now, so I will be stitching her more, but it's on 32 count Gothic. I don't know. I think the fabric is too dark. I really do. Originally I thought it would work, but I got kind of the light bulb moment that I think the fabric's too dark. So I'm going to rip that all out, and I will use this fabric for something else because it's a beautiful piece of fabric. Again, it's 32 count Gothic. Picture this plus, which is not easy to find right now. So instead I picked up 32 count Fabrics by Stephanie Driftwood. So I will restart her on this. And I think that she will pop on this. And I've stitched on Stephanie's fabrics before. They are really, really nice to stitch on. So I can stick that in there to restart that one. So I'll still count her as my oldest whip. Yeah, then I'll get her done. And then my next oldest whip is Sleeping Princess. That one's for my oldest daughter, and Sleeping Princess is for my middle daughter. But this one I had picked up at Market, Exquisite Lace by Works by ABC, Arlene Cohen. And I had thought I would use 40 count Havana because I love this. This color is just luscious. I kept going back and forth, and then I saw this. This is 40 count Stephanie's Fabrics by Stephanie, Simply Sage. And I could do a white, or someone mentioned like a mint green. So I will be taking this with me to Stitchville next time I have a stitching day, and I'll be picking a silk for it. Well, I'll be picking a fiber for it, I should say, because there are some beautiful cottons too that would work nice for that piece. And then my mom was clearing out some of her stitching stuff because she's really into quilting and she does a fabulous job. And she sent these to me, Heart and Hand. What series is this? Inspiration series. So we have Joy, Respect, Hope, Peace, Love, Courage. And on her website, or maybe it was at Stitchville. If it's on her website, I'll link it. Inspiration Border. So you can check her website to see if she has this available, that you can put all 6 of these in one long piece, and then there's a border that goes around. I'm going to cover up the chart here, that goes around it, and you can add some buttons if you want at the corners. So that's how I'm going to do it. And she also passed on 28 count ivory Lugana and antique white Lugana. So more fabric to play with. And Village Green by Prairie Schooler. This is, I think this is one of the reprints. It's on that different paper. And she also passed on this particular cross stitch and needlework magazine. And I was looking at, there's one in here. If I can find it. It's a beautiful sampler. And some of these older cross-stitching magazines, because this one's from, does it say? August 1996. So some of the colors may be a little dated, but you can definitely, I mean, this you could do in today's world if you were a Hardanger person. You can definitely do that. You might change the colors a little bit, but you can definitely do it. So yeah, I mean, the needlework gets a little dated over time, but come on, where is it? I thought oh, here it is. 1805 sampler. So I think I will do this one. It's not, if I read it right, it's not that big. Hannah Colby, 1805 sampler. You only need a 12 by 12 piece of 20 count linen in DMC. So I have that too. But I think I've gone through everything I have here. And my whip go for April was a sampler, 10 days on a sampler, 10 days on something new. Boom. May, 10 days on a sampler, 10 days on something new. Sampler, new between the Fragments in Time and the memorial piece for my aunt and the piece I started at the retreat. I'm covered. I'm done. So she should announce the June numbers this week, toward the end of the week. So we'll see what comes up. And I do like WhipGo. I do more general categories. 10 days on a fancy lady, so I could pick whatever I want. But yeah, I think that's all I have to show and talk about today. So my June, or looking ahead, we are winding down from our homeschool. So I wind up, meaning we start with math this week, and then the next week we add history, and the next week we add science. Well, at the end of the year, you get off of one subject, and then another subject, and another subject. We're in that process. History, we have to finish. Some of the kids have math to finish, science to finish, but we're rolling off. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll be done. And then we're going to deep clean and do some household projects. And I plan on doing quilting projects. So get this guy done, that border, work on baby 8's quilt. And of course, I always, like, I have a list of things to stitch. I have a list of things to quilt. So that is my plan at this point. We're not planning on traveling anywhere in June, but probably later this year, out west. So yes. And if you are new to my channel, welcome. I should have started with that. I'm sorry. But if I met you this weekend and this is the first time you're at my channel, hi. Great time. And I'm hoping to go next year. If my son graduates that weekend, I won't be able to go. But if he doesn't, I've already told my husband we're going. We're going. And he's fine with that. So there you go. Did I buy anything else? Or oh, and for Mother's Day, I also received a gift certificate from one of my sons for Garon Stitchery. And I received flowers from another son and from a daughter. And I received a little beautiful ceramic dish. Let me grab it. So this beautiful little dish, Mom, remember I love you. So you can set it there, and I plan on like using it to put my rings in or something like that. So my kids did spoil me, and they made grilled venison and grilled sweet potatoes, and what else did we have on? We had something else. Did we have a salad? No, we had grilled oven roasted vegetables and oven roasted potatoes and grilled venison. Yum. Oh, and one of my sons gave me chocolate, which is always a good thing. Especially the Enjoy Life brand, because that's allergen, a lot less allergens in there. But yeah, so I'm gonna let you all go. This will be long. It'll take a while to upload. Usually my videos are shorter, or I try to get them shorter. I look forward to coming back within a couple weeks instead of however long it's been, and just continue stitching. And yeah, I think that's all I have. But I encourage you to watch Garon Stitchery's video this Friday. It should be posted, or next Friday, because I'm sure he'll show the models now that the retreat's over, and you could see them, the freebies, because there's a bee one that I'm definitely doing, and it's cute, and I hope he shows that one. But my email, mondotstitches@gmail.com, Instagram, mondotstitches, one word. I was asked why mondot. When I was really little, like 2 years old, I could not say come on Dud. Dud was our dog. And so I said mondot. And eventually that's all the dog would answer to was mondot. So that's where my name comes from. But yeah, I'll let you all go. Thank you for subscribing and liking and all the things. And I will talk to you later. Bye.